Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Gilson Brothers' very first podcast. Why you guys would want to tune into us flapping our gums for a little bit, I have no clue. But here we are, man. We're starting our first podcast.
Yeah, so we figured we do a little bit of like an introductory. Let these guys know like who we are, what we're about, why we're doing what we're doing. And I think a lot of that really relies on, us being overly involved in like media, starting out with like music and audio and, moving into the video world. It's just something that, sort of makes sense, right?
I mean, everybody else is doing it. I'm a follower. But you know what I mean? When it comes to like media, it's 2024, man. It seems like everywhere you look, dude, there's content creators, there's digital creators, people are growing business pages. Like social media content is taking over. And I feel like, you know what, since we have a little bit of a platform, since we have a lot of experience, and since we've been through some things, I think that we should be able to have a platform and be able to discuss that a little bit,
Why'd you get into videography? Let's talk about videography a little bit, man, because we both sort of we both started out as musicians, bro. Like we were heavy into the audio world, let me hear from you. Like what made you sort of think, hey, I got to transition into like video?
I didn't know this was going to happen. I had no clue. Obviously, you were messing around with the camera a couple of years ago when I was making rap songs. You were recording it, and then we would go shoot a video. We would walk around the block. You'd be all in it with the camera recording me, and I don't know, you didn't have a way of making it seem like it was easy. So like whenever like you're like, yeah, like I would like see you make all these micro adjustments in Premiere, and like you were all messing, like it seemed like information overload. I didn't want anything to do with that. But like for me, how I got into it, so mom had this camera. She had it for years. She had this little camera. It didn't look like it was a good camera, but like she kept talking about it recently. She kept saying, like, I have these pictures on this camera. I need batteries for it so that we can look at it. And she was saying it for a while, and I just kind of like let it go over my head until one day she finally got batteries for it. And I looked at the camera, you looked at the camera, we both started going through all these pictures, and like, damn, it was this secret vault that was like, it was unlocked, man. And I was like, I don't remember mom ever making us pose for these pictures. Like, holy crap, remember this over at Uncle Nick's, or remember we were there, oh, look at our brother Joey here. And it was like, it was cool. It lit a fuse in me. And that made me think like, wow, man, I really appreciate like photos and videos. How I got into videography is, you know what I mean? I switched jobs. I stopped working the job that I was working at. I had a big paycheck coming in, and it was sink or swim. You were doing your thing with the Gilson Brothers. I was still trying to learn, and I made my first purchase. I bought that Lumix camera, and I was under the assumption that you get this camera, a nice expensive camera, and it was going to do all the work for you. I didn't have to learn anything, but there was the exposure triangle. I got this camera. I had no idea how to use it. And the main reason I got that camera is so I didn't have to pay people $1,000 to make a music video. But then I got this camera. I had no idea how to use it. And now it's completely changed my life, man. I take this camera like almost everywhere that I go. Any event that me and my friends are involved in, jiu-jitsu, kickball tournaments, music-related events, just getting my foot in a lot of doors. And it's a learning curve for sure, as you know, but like I feel like it's completely changed my life. It's something that like I look at my friends JT, I look at like all of my friend circle that are around me, they all have these businesses, and I've tried factory work, I've tried working in treatment, I've tried doing electrical work, I've done construction stuff, I've painted. Man, I hate doing all of that shit, man. I'm dropping screws everywhere. I have to be really, really careful when I'm painting. You know what I mean? You're in homeowners' houses and stuff, like the pressure is on. And I feel like being able to take something that I love to do. It started with TikTok videos too for the music. You know what I mean? Make a little edits there on my phone. But to be able to turn something like this into a business, turn something like this into a passion, turn something like this into like another way of life. Once a cucumber becomes a pickle, the pickle ain't going back, man. I can't look at things differently now. Now this whole world has become a playground, a social media content creative playground.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. When you said that, when you thought you were gonna buy the camera, and it's like you just set it and forget it, dude. It's like you got all this crazy shit. It's like, oh no, dude, I gotta worry about my exposure values. I gotta worry about my white balance. And I gotta worry about my, all this other crazy shit. And you're like, dude, this is bullshit. Like, like you're outside, you have your white balance set for outside and golden hour. And like, you're like, oh, dude, we gotta go inside and film some shit. It's like, why does everyone look blue? So it's just crazy, man. It's a lot of shit to take into consideration. But yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. But I feel like I have a different reason, I think, why I got into like doing video. Like, I feel like obviously, like I started out, like I thought I was gonna be like a musician, right? Started out in bands. I'm thinking, all right, dude, I want to be part of that band life, the music life, and then stuff like that didn't work out. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this by myself, and started like making my own music. Started to sort of feel like it was more work than it's worth. Like for me personally, like I still love music, but like making music is not something that's really in me anymore. So I was just like, dude, I need to like find something. Like I wanted to start doing like audio production. I wanted to start doing stuff like that because I thought, hey, this might actually be my calling. And it's just, dude, no matter what, it just didn't feel like it was filling what I wanted to do with myself, dude. It just made me feel like I was forcing myself. I was like, bro, there's no way in hell this is cool. There's no way in hell that this is going to be what I'm going to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to the point where it's like, hey, my big goal is to have a filled studio, but like every time somebody wants to come into the studio, I'm like, I don't want to, dude, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? So like, so then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, like, I love videography because of like I started out using like the phone actually. I had this iPhone, I had this Moment app, and it's like allows you to adjust all the manual settings in your camera. Like you could do that now, you know what I'm saying? But before the camera app was the way it was, you weren't able to like adjust your ISO and adjust your white balance and all that stuff. So when I started messing around with that and even like focus, like you have to like mess with the focus manually. I thought that was so cool. Bro, I used to get real close up to shit and it'd be like so in focus and like the blurry background because of the depth of field. I was like, man, this is fire. And it's not something I ever really seen, you know, using the camera on auto and just, you know, taking just some bullshit, not understanding depth of field. So stuff like that like really fascinated me. I'm like, this is cool. I had like the cell phone gimbal. Remember that?
Yeah.
I had, like little cell phone gimbal walking around with the cell phone and stuff. And it's just eventually I bought that Lumix G7. I mean, camera, you can't record for more than 30 minutes without the shit being like, okay, you gotta take a break. And like you have to stop it and shit. So like imagine doing what we're doing now. Like thankfully, like, you know, we have these FX30s and shit now, but like imagine how much it would suck. Like before we had that overheating problem with the Lumixes, and dude, that was a nightmare. But imagine like having to, it's like they're in the middle of a crazy conversation. You're like,
Right in the fucking depths in the middle of it, the best part, yeah.
yeah, they'd be right in their bag. And it's just like I just completely fucked it up because I had to stop it because I have a $400 camera. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, how about when we were doing the interviews for like Monoy and like, dude, we would have so many people like or Leighton and we would just have them in the middle of the interview saying all this juicy stuff and we're like, we go to check the camera and yeah, we didn't get any of that. It stopped about 12 minutes ago.
Yeah, dude, it sucks.
Say all that over again. Oh,
Dude, it sucks because you'd be like talking to them and I'd be sitting here like I was like the camera dude looking at them, making sure everything's okay. And like, it's like, I feel like a little kid trying to interrupt his parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, mommy and daddy are talking. Don't worry. I'm over here like, like waiting for you guys to take a break. So I'd be like, stop recording. Because like, you guys are in your bag and I'm looking at my screen and it's just like bars, blue lines. I'm just like, is this good?
we're definitely fortunate to have been able to upgrade both cameras, man.
Yeah. The thing that sucked, man, is like the footage wasn't even usable prior to it doing that. That's the thing that really was a kick to the balls, bro. You know what I mean? Like we would go like a good 15 minutes, like, oh, dude, thank God nothing fucked up yet, right? But if we didn't hit stop or record right after that 15 minutes, like if at the 16-minute timeline, if it corrupts, the whole file is fucked. You know what I'm saying? So like
That's a kick in the dick, bro.
it was a huge kick in the dick. Like it was a pain in the ass to be like, bro, I'm sorry, but we got to start over.
So we started a business together, the Gilson brothers, and we're starting to gain a lot of traction and things are really starting to like come together. And like, dude, in the beginning, it sounded like Fantasyland, man. When we would talk about it, like we would think like, yo, let's start a business together. We got these cameras, getting work is hard, man. Like obviously there's a learning curve. There's a portfolio that needs to be built, but like in the beginning stages, like what were some of the difficulties with it? Why did we choose the Gilson brothers as the name?
What made me sort of lean towards that, like me personally, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same when it comes to disrespect, is like in this area, dude, like who we're known as is not really like, it's not a good image. You know what I'm saying? Like when people hear the name, like, you know, Gilson, you know, they automatically think cop car. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, to me, it feels like we're finally able to provide something for the community. And that's why, like, dude, the sports were huge, not only because it gave us opportunities to use our cameras, but it gave us that opportunity, like, for like, not even just Tamaqua, obviously, but like, just to get more involved in our communities as like a better person, a better, like, not really like a better figure, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like to be known as like, you know, who are those guys with the cameras? Oh, Gilson brothers. You know, we have our branding, we have our logo, and when they see that, and it's just like, deep down, like I know not everybody knows who we are. Like who the fuck do I think I am? You know what I'm saying? But like for the people that do, it's crazy how like they're like, wow, this is where they're at now. Like this is they're not out there doing crazy shit. They're not locked up. They're not like out there. They're getting high. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so to me, like rebranding ourselves and incorporating that into our business is it's like gold to me, man.
Me
Like
too.
it's awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like especially knowing like we both came from like similar interest areas and like we both didn't originally have an interest in doing this video shit like at all. You know what I mean? This wasn't even on our radar at all. You know what I mean? Like we were all about music and like recording and just audio and all this stuff. And it's just like it's crazy that like all of that somehow transformed itself into like, damn, I'm shooting good footage, editing good footage, and it's like now now you want to? It's just like what the fuck?
We're an asset to our community now. And I think it was great that we came up with the Gilson Brothers as a name. Like people, I know some videographer friends that I've like, collaborated with. And like, that guy is like, well, why don't, what's with the Gilson Brothers name? It doesn't really tell me what you do. How about something that has visuals in it or videography? And, I would rather, no, I like the Gilson Brothers exactly for the stuff that you said. Growing up, we were knuckleheads, man.
It's important to me when you started to gain interest. You know what I'm saying? Because then it felt like it was more worth doing. You know what I mean? As opposed to me just going out there, shooting my stuff and getting some decent footage and like making a decent edit. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt different knowing that like there's more attached to that than just, exposure for shooting good video. You know what I mean? And that I feel like building up a brand as not just a videographer, but like as us as brothers it's like, I feel like that is actually supersedes it in a weird fucked up way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's honestly more important than like how crazy quality, like how good quality it is, or like, what I mean? I feel like it's more important, like building the name and people knowing like where we came from, what we were doing, growing up as kids, being little dickheads, you know what I'm saying? Like now we're not really dickheads. Like we're creating memories for these people. Like, dude, the sports, I can't get over the sports shit. Right? I'm not a sports guy at all, right? You would be all over that shit, right? And you were all over that shit. You were the guy to be like, oh, I want to go out there and start getting these games. And I was sort of deflecting that a little bit. I was like, oh, no, we got to do marketing and like business and all this shit. But like, bro, the sports, the community that we got involved with sports was so supportive that it was just a fire under our ass. All the people that grew with our page are literally from us doing sports.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Monoy City.
Yes. Monoy, yo, we can't say enough how much Monoy has been like a super supportive back brace for our business, man. Like it's not even just a financial area. It's just like they were just so like every time we release something, they're sharing it, commenting it, liking it. And like, yeah, granted, like, it's their kids on the video and they're like, all right, they're proud of that. But like at the same time, like they feel the same way we do, I feel, because like we didn't have any of that growing up. And, we know they didn't either. You know what I'm saying? Like, who we kidding? Like, they didn't have that shit either growing up. All we had was like, sometimes you'd catch somebody who got a photo of you. You know what I mean? But to be able to look back and like have videos of you going ape shit on the court, like, dude, that's that's crazy. Can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine? Like, it's just like, yo, I want to see a video of dad when I broke some kids' ankles back when I was in high school, and like, and that's the crazy part. Like, social media is getting fucking bigger than it ever can be. You know what I'm saying? So like, social media is sort of was an upbringing within our lifespan. You know what I mean? That's something that was starting off to blow up. So like, that will be there when they have kids and their kids are in high school. That's gonna be there.
Yeah, and it did light a fire under my ass because I got that camera, and like I said, I had to learn how to use it. And so I had friends that had kids that were playing football and sports and whatever. And I remember going over to Jim Thorpe. It was an 8th grade game, and I got this camera, snuck over to the sideline because I didn't know what else to do. I just kind of like would walk on the sideline. I'm all the way towards the end, away from them, and the team's over there, and I'm like near the end zone. I'm in the viewfinder. I'm looking, just trying to snap some photos, man. I didn't do video yet. But I love sports, and for us to get some practice with that, with the sports, like you wouldn't know, but like I mean, I guess I'll put our stuff on Front Street now. Like, dude, we had no idea what we were doing. Yeah. We just showed up, And that's a lot. Like with life, a lot of things is about just showing up, man. So we would show up, act as if we got our media passes, and we would go there, and we would just act as if we were supposed to be there, man. And we provided something for an entire community because, like, dude, it was awesome being able to capture the students going crazy, man. The student section of Monoy that were always going bananas in the crowd, and then Jace dunking the ball, Tanner hitting shots, like going to different schools and getting these footage of these athletes, man, and being able to give them this video content. It just lit a fire under my ass, man. And like, dude, I was committed. Like behind the scenes, man, dude, we were always showing up with the cameras. We were always getting these videos out. Like we were putting a whole team and a community on the map. Granted, they were playing their asses off. We have no hand of the ability of what they were doing on the court, but like we were there to capture it all, and like it just all collaborated and connected together. And like, dude, my lights on my old car on the Subaru, they weren't working. Like what I was doing to get to those games, because like, dude, you had to hit a Monomoy game. They were undefeated, man. I would drive in the winter with my Subaru Legacy. I would have to. The game would start at 7, right? My lights didn't work. Nobody could figure it out, the light situation. So I would be driving with no lights, and I couldn't drive it at night. So here I am driving all the way to Monoy City at 4:30, 5 o'clock before it gets dark, and I'm parking my car there, and I'm chilling for an hour or two, waiting for the game to start, going to hang out, and then I would capture the whole game, get the footage, and I would have to like find a ride home, and then I would have to get a ride either from you or somebody else, and the next day to go back to Monoy to pick up my car, bring it back, and it was a rat race, but it was worth it. And being able to use that camera is getting me in so many different doors. All I have to do is show up, man, and it's cool to be able to do this with my brother. Like to come up with the Gilson brothers, very important. People asked us like, why don't you rebrand? Like, I don't know what you do. When I hear the Gilson brothers, I have no idea what your specialty is. So why don't you make something that has like visuals in it or video production services and all this crazy shit? And I like to keep an open mind, and I wouldn't deflect people that were trying to help me. And I would like sit there and I would listen to it, and I'm like, no, it's the Gilson brothers. Because the way that we grew up, the Gilson brothers, when you heard the Gilson brothers, it was negative. I don't want you near the Gilson brothers. They're trouble. And we grew up and we kept getting in trouble. I kept breaking the law. You kept breaking the law. Boot camp, juvenile placements. And to be able to turn it around, we took our name and completely rebranded it. And to be able to do it with you is a blessing, man. And the Gilson brothers, we're not just video production services. Yeah, that's one of the businesses we started, but we're the Gilson brothers, man. Whatever we tackle together is going to be special to me, whether it's a podcast, whether it's music, because we haven't even touched that yet. We might come out with a Gilson brothers banger, but that's in the works. The Gilson brothers real estate, whatever we decide to get into, we're the Gilson brothers. That's who we are. And we give back to our communities now. I took from the community of Tamaqua for so long. I took from my family for so long. I took from my friends for so long. I took so much that to be able to like take my camera and give back, nothing beats the feeling, right, of capturing something. You can capture anything you want. You can have an expensive camera. You can have the best editing software. You can have all the desire in the world to do something great. But the reality of the situation is, you take the footage, you have to edit, you have to tell a story. You have to be able to just not have a random group of clips together and say, here's a video for you. Like you can, and there's nothing wrong with that, but to be able to like sit there and take all this footage, spend hours,
Just even looking at it.
hours labeling the footage, naming the footage, getting rid of footage we don't think we could use, shooting too much so we don't have, we don't run out of footage, like taking all this footage and getting everything and sitting in this editing software, spending hours on it, putting something together. You know what I mean? I'm my own worst critic. I'm the last to know whether I'm doing good or I'm doing great in my life. So like, I want to do good. Self-esteem issues growing up plays a part, but like to be able to like take all this footage and not know if anyone's going to like it. Am I good enough? Is this a good enough edit? I just started doing this. There's a lot of people that are better than me, like doing that comparison stuff. To be able to put something together, export it and put it on social media and to give it to a client and for them to be completely blown out of the water from it. Come on, man. That's what we do it for, bro.
I feel like the best type of editing is the one that can re-portray the feelings in that moment, in that day. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we've hit that like a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And Monoway, like that year, like Monoway in particular, that year was like very, very, very emotionally pulling. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of highs, that were in there. It was just like, damn, dude, they're popping off. And then there was a couple situations where it's like, dude, they might not win this game. You know what I'm saying? They've had a couple double digit deficits, and then they come back. It's just like, dude, what the hell? Were they like fucking around in the beginning or something? Are they just like trying to like, try and like, style on them, and then they realize, oh, dude, you're starting to get a good lead on us, and now they come back and they start actually trying. You know what I'm saying? It's like being like a gamer and like you're playing against your younger brother in Tekken, and he's like beating you for like the first couple rounds, and he's like, "Hey, you're trash," and you shit on him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I feel like happens, bro. Like that's the feeling I got every time I would watch those games. Every time we would see the footage, I'm like, these guys like they're just like on a different level sometimes. You know what I mean? And I feel like we were really lucky to be able to catch that when we did. You know what I'm saying? Like we got on that. I think what were they like 5 games in when we hopped on that?
Jeff Bowers hit me up and he was inquiring about, because he was doing the renovating the locker room.
Oh yeah, that's
painting
right.
it and painting the bears on it, making it black and gold. And he hit me up talking about, yo, we should have got you to do a video with this. That would have been cool, but you should probably get a game sometime. They're like 9-0, and like that was like
9 games.
So we got like the next 14 games, 15 games.
That's crazy, bro. That was a hell of a ride. And like, honestly, dude, like with me not being interested in sports as much, like that made me interested. I was just like, dude, I can't wait for the next game. And like, dude, when you're talking about the car, fuck, dude. I remember when I was at work and like, I'd be like, yo, dude, what are you doing today? Like, cause I work 3 to 11. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go hit up the game. I'm like, oh, dude, what time is it gonna be? Like 7 o'clock. I'm already up here. I might have to stay the night in my car. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I'm like, why? You're like, yeah, dude, my lights don't work. No one knows what's happening. Like, literally nobody knew what happened. You brought it to like how many shops? You only bring it to one shop, or did you bring it to a couple of them?
I brought it to a couple. I brought it to Cal's, and they couldn't figure it out. A lot of people couldn't figure. A lot of people couldn't figure it out, man. Shout out to Dave Schwibby, man. He's the only one that figured it out, and he did it in like 20 minutes, which is like the hell. But yeah, no one could figure out the light situation.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, bro. I remember you getting fuses, taking out fuses, changing fuses, and
yeah, man. So it was awesome for the whole community of Monroe City to accept us the way they did. And it might sound stupid, like, well, they don't need to accept you or whatever. But dude, it felt good for like I said, growing up and having like Tamako be like shunning us, because not even it may have seemed like they were shunning us, but dude, we were idiots. We kept like breaking the law and acting stupid. So like to be able to provide something for a whole community, and we had some like arguments in the beginning, because like trying to like start this as a business as well.
The niche thing,
the price thing. It's like, dude, in this field, my friends are yelling at me all the time. Like, are you getting paid for this job? And like, dude, I still do a lot of free work. And like, dude, sometimes
we always will, bro. To be honest with you,
there's always gonna be situations where we do free work, because at the end of the day, it's like, dude, we have to be firm with our prices with certain people. And that's a fact. But like, there is things that money can't buy when it comes to networking, when it comes to experience, when it comes to opportunities, because like all of those free games, like we would get tipped by some of the parents for the Monroe games that were appreciative, but we were never asking for anything, because like, dude, we had a whole community that were, dude, one of the videos has like 30 some thousand views, like so many different shares. The engagement on it was crazy. We grew our page like 1,000, 2,000 just from like doing the sports videos. And like, we didn't see a lot of money from it, man, but we got, you know what I mean? We have a whole community of Monroe City that knows our name. They appreciate us. They let us know that they appreciate us. And like, dude, it has opened doors with other things, man. Like with Jeff Bowers and like the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, like we have some stuff lined up with them. So now not only are we like providing like the spotlight for the athletics as well, the baseball, the basketball, I'm gonna get a couple football games too, but now we're starting to venture into like, all right, the Chamber of Commerce, which is nothing but businesses. Yeah. So now we're going to be able to put a spotlight on these businesses that have been putting their neck down, putting their head down, and grinding for so many years, and have built empires that like some people in the area know about it, but now we get to interview some of them. Now we get to ask about how they did it. Now we get to ask how they get to maintain it. Now we get to ask, what are you doing for your community? In case people didn't know, because there's a lot that people do behind the scenes that just nobody knows about.
Honestly, man, I guess a good way to put the free work into perspective is like, we're not getting paid financially for the free jobs. We're getting paid for like knowledge and connections. You know what I'm saying? Like now, instead of having, nobody to ask certain questions, now we have a couple people that like ask a couple questions. We're like, hey man, like how do you go about your lead generation? You know, like talk about like how are they getting business? You know what I'm saying? So like it may be a whole different field, but like the concept still matters. You know what I mean? So like the concept's still the same. So like to be able to have those connections and people that know more, it's dude, that's valuable as fuck. You know, that's equally as valuable as like, oh, here's a couple $100. Like, bro, I will proudly say fuck the couple $100. If you're gonna provide information and like, you know, and build connections and relationships, like the relationships matter so much more. You know what I mean? Like, granted, we do got to focus on making sure we get paid for certain scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very, very necessary. But when we're out there doing the free work, it's people look at it with a crooked eye, like, what the hell are you? Why are you doing this for free? It's just like, dude, if you don't get it, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And like even a lot of the higher tier videographers to this day still occasionally do free work. You know what I mean? There are a lot of pros in it in doing that. You know what I mean? It's not always about the money.
Yeah, they definitely open up opportunities, man. So I will continue to do some free work, and I enjoy doing it, man. And like some of the repeat clients that I have, like I have gone out and done a bunch of free work for them. You know what I mean? Just show up with the camera, here, bam, here, bam. And it's not even just for them, just for us. Luckily, he's a personal friend of mine as well. But like there's situations where, you know what I mean? You are paying for a video for this business, right? You're paying it for that. I'm gonna give you a deliverable that you are satisfied with that you can utilize to help grow. Also, if there's some little stuff that you're attending, a tournament you're in or something that you're interested in or something we're all doing collectively, all right, I'm gonna make a little video out of it. I'm gonna get us all in it and we're gonna have that, you know what I mean, for the rest of our lives. And I think it's important to you know, not shake a price tag over people's head all the time. I mean, there's situations where like we have to be firm. And I've heard other videographers say like, and there could be different takes on it as well, but like he would say like if I'm doing a video free for a company, I don't plan on seeing them again.
Yeah, because that sort of boils down to like you don't want to also attract the clientele, the client base of people that always want the cheap product. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the whole doing free work and not working with that person you did for free. I feel like that's really useful in scenarios where like you have a portfolio that's missing a certain section. You know what I mean? That's where I feel like that's extremely valuable, right? And yeah, you're right. Like if I'm doing that, I'm working with you, it's just like, all right, cool. We both get something out of that. I honestly, I'm not going to want a further relationship with that person because like, they're always going to be like, oh, well, he did that for free before, you know what I mean? But not everybody thinks like that, but like for the most part they do, you know what I mean? They'll be like, well, it'll hook me up. And the thing is word of mouth is so huge that like, and this is like my biggest fear. And we've seen it talking on the phone with somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah.
dude, I was just like, this is the shit I'm talking about. Oh, I know a guy who does them pretty cheap. I don't want that. I'm not going to be known as the guy who does it pretty cheap, especially with the amount of work we put into it. We're not just bullshit editing. Like we sit there and like, we give a shit like how it's going to turn out. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't want to be known as the guy who you got for cheap. I want to know as like, yo, this guy came up, he shot this for us. And like, dude, he made a crazy edit. Like we felt like we were there. You know what I'm saying?
You come, you pay our full price on our price sheet, you will get way more than you're bargaining for.
Yeah, 100%.
And I would rather you come to the price sheet and you pay what we're worth. You pay me what I'm worth, bro. You pay us what we're worth. All right, here's your video and some.
The thing is too, like a lot of people get this another thing I like twisted. It's like we're responsible for creating a high quality product, right? Like that's our big, especially for like marketing. I'm talking more marketing wise right now, right? We are 100% responsible for giving you a high quality, straight to the point, meeting the objective, who's like what kind of audience it's for. Like that's our job, right?
We are a truck. We are a truckload of inventory. We are going to deliver it to you. We're going to park it right in the back. You get your workers, you unload the truck and you put it in your inventory stock. What you do from there has nothing to do with us. If you're not meal prepping, if you're not stocking the shelves, you're not making certain coffee, if you're not taking all these goods that we're providing, breaking it down and pushing it, that's not on us. We deliver you the deliverable. It's up to you to maintain your business.
Dude, you start running sponsored ads, having video content to go do that with, as opposed to some picture, dude, it speaks volumes. Like 100%, 100%.
Yeah, like if we're gonna make a surveillance like video camera video, all right, here's option A. We can be real professional and cordial about it. You know, some candid shots of you installing a video camera, shaking a homeowner's hand, signing the contract, smiles are good. Like, yeah, this is what we got going on. There's my truck with all the vinyls on it, and you know, there's my sponsor that's like wrapped around, you know what I mean, my business name on it. Or somebody's army crawling through your lawn trying to avoid the camera to steal something, or you know what I mean, trying to go on your porch stealing something, you know, because you don't have a camera on there, versus like, you know, seeing a camera and be like, I'm not messing with that. Like there's a funny way to do it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think it's more engaging.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap this up here. I appreciate everybody who came, stopped by, hung out, listened to our conversations.
We have these types of conversations all the time in the car. We get in the car, we drive around, we'll have a little business meeting, we'll think of the potential clients to hit up. But business aside and everything else aside, we're the Gilson brothers, man. And we have experience with a lot of different areas. We're not always going to be talking about videography. This is like our introductory. We're just like testing the waters right now. We're getting the audio levels. We're doing all the nerd shit right now. Just we got everything set up, the lighting, the camera, everything. We got the location for now. We will consistently throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. And this is one of those things. And I think that this is going to be important for us to continue to do together. We have a podcast now, which is crazy to say.
Who would have thought? I never thought we would go out and do something like this. It wasn't on our radar. Same thing with the video stuff, dude. It wasn't on our radar at all.
But you know what? We're part of the content world now. So we're going to touch on a variety of different topics. More will be revealed, and we're going to keep doing this thing.